We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
New York drops charges against pro-Hamas protesters. Andrew Cuomo speaks out against the Trump court case. UN agency is funneling money to terrorists and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Nearly all of the pro-Hamas Columbia students who were arrested a little over a month ago for breaking into and occupying Hamilton Hall had their charges dismissed on Thursday afternoon by the Manhattan District Attorney. We were unable to establish that these defendants caused property damage or bodily harm, Assistant DA Stephen Millan told the judge before he moved to drop the charges against 30 Columbia students and faculty who were arrested and charged after violently taking over Hamilton Hall on the evening of April 30th with hammers and zip ties. One person baffled by the decision was Lester Wilson, one of the janitors inside Hamilton Hall that night, who previously told the Free Press he thought he could have been killed in there. He called the prosecutor's decision to dismiss the cases wrong. Former Democratic governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, recently told HBO host Bill Maher that if former President Trump wasn't running for president, he would never have been prosecuted in the state for his hush money payments. The former governor made the statements on HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher on Friday, agreeing with the host that the New York District Attorney should not have brought the case against Trump because it reeks of politicalization. The Attorney General's case in New York, frankly, should never have been brought, Cuomo declared on air, noting that state residents who don't even like Trump are offended by it because it looks like the weaponization of the justice system. Cuomo's attack on the case, which resulted in Trump's conviction on 34 counts of falsifying business records, began by describing how a large swath of New Yorkers don't view it as a fair case. The trials in New York, New Yorkers said 66% said the justice system is politicized. And there's nobody in New York who likes Trump, he said. And still, 66% said the justice system is politicized. That's why I think he's not paying the same price for these verdicts, because they believe it is political. Cuomo, who resigned as governor following a sexual harassment scandal in 2021, described that the real threat to democracy is these cases undermining people's belief that the justice system is fair. Thanks to a tidal wave of fundraising following his convictions in the first criminal trial of a former or current president, Donald Trump has all but erased President Biden's once massive fundraising advantage in their 2024 election rematch. In May, for a second straight month, the former president and the Republican National Committee significantly outraised Biden and the Democratic National Committee. The president's formidable cash on hand advantage over Trump has seemingly evaporated. The Biden campaign's months-long lead in the cash dash allowed his team to drown out Trump on the airwaves and to build an impressive ground game operation in comparison to the Trump campaign's much more frugal foundations. But Trump's fundraising boost since clinching the GOP nomination in early March and his surge since being convicted now allow him to match Biden in the ad wars and to potentially build a sizable ground operation. The fact-checking website Snopes acknowledged Saturday that former President Trump never called neo-Nazis very fine people during his press conference following the Charlottesville Unite the Right rally in 2017. Critics of Trump have claimed for years that he equated neo-Nazis with counter-protesters following the event. President Biden was chief among those critics, citing the supposed incident as a main reason for launching his 2020 campaign. While Trump did say that there were very fine people on both sides, he also specifically noted that he was not talking about neo-Nazis and white supremacists and said they should be condemned totally. Therefore, we have rated this claim false, Snopes wrote. The Snopes fact check now aligns with years of arguments from Trump's camp, who long stated, backed by transcript and video, that his comments were taken out of context. The fact checker notes that the false claim about Trump's comments spread like wildfire on the left, eventually being cited as a cornerstone of Biden's election campaign. Over 100 Israeli plaintiffs have filed a lawsuit against the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East, also known as UNRWA, and its senior officials. Filed in the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York, the lawsuit accuses UNRWA and its leadership of aiding and abetting Hamas in the October 7th attack. The lawsuit, spanning over 150 pages of detailed factual allegations, outlines how UNRWA officials, including senior directors based in New York City, allegedly facilitated Hamas in carrying out what plaintiffs describe as genocidal acts against Israeli civilians. The plaintiffs, non-U.S. citizens who were victims or survivors of the attack, argue that UNRWA's actions were crucial in enabling Hamas to perpetrate these atrocities. A Las Vegas area judge dismissed the fake electors case related to the 2020 presidential election. Clark County, Nevada District Court Judge Mary Kay Holthus on Friday threw out the battleground state's indictment against 6 Republicans prosecutors say illegally submitted certificates to Congress certifying former President Donald Trump as the winner of the 2020 presidential election. In doing so, Holthus said the Office of Nevada Attorney General Aaron Ford, a Democrat, chose the wrong venue for the case. Clark County, where Holthus presides, is Nevada's largest and contains Las Vegas, the state's most Democratic-leaning city. Richard Wright, an attorney for one of the defendants, state GOP Chairman Michael McDonald accused Ford of bringing the case before a grand jury in Las Vegas instead of Carson City or Reno, northern Nevada cities in a more Republican region where the defendants allegedly signed and submitted fraudulent documents in a scheme to overturn President Biden's victory. Police tackled climate change protesters on the 18th green at TPC River Highlands during the final hole of the Travelers Championship on Sunday. Scotty Schaefer was on the 18th green looking for the victory when multiple protesters rushed onto the course in Cromwell, Connecticut. The protesters let off gas canisters as police sprinted to apprehend them. Some of the protesters wore T-shirts with the extinction symbol on the back, which is a circle representing the planet and a stylized hourglass that represents running out of time. NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams remain floating in the International Space Station without a return date because of issues with Boeing's Starliner spacecraft. Due to leaks in the vehicle's helium system and the failure of some of its thrusters, NASA announced on Friday an indefinite delay in bringing home 2 of the unluckiest standby passengers in history. NASA said Starliner could return immediately in case of an emergency, but wants to comfortably check all of the boxes required for a safe re-entry before greenlighting the capsule to undock from the ISS and land in the New Mexico desert. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.